Try not to.
Well, you guys asked for the domain of Guyun, which is the Geo artifact domain. So down at the far bottom right of the map, you have domain of Guyun. So there are multiple levels to this domain, and I'm going to assume a couple of things for the purpose of this video. One, because I've already recorded this video and I just didn't really like the way it turned out, so I'm going to try to go like a different route whenever we talk about a couple of different things. Two, because efficiency wise, you shouldn't be farming this domain unless you're at least AR 40. I know that a lot of people are going to say AR 45, and that's fine. If you want to maximize your efficiency at getting 5-star artifacts, yes, wait till AR 45. You're guaranteed your 5-star artifact every single run at AR 45. There is a case to be made that if you don't have anything to spend your resin on, you've got your main 2 teams maxed out for the Abyss, as far as you care to max them out, and you don't really have a whole lot of other stuff to be farming, if you don't need like talent books or weapon ascension materials, if you don't need Mora or EXP books from the ley lines, then there is a case to be made that you could be farming at AR 40, and you could just turn around and use all of that for fuel whenever you hit AR 45 and start actually leveling up some decent artifacts. But just to cover our bases, because I know not everyone is going to follow that path, I am going to talk about one of the levels before AR 40. We are going to go over level 4, which is the one before you can even get 5-star artifacts, and then level 5, which should be AR 40, and then level 6, which is AR 45. So what we're going to do for this iteration of the video, I'm going to treat each one of these as if they were a separate section of the video. So we're going to dedicate the next few minutes talking specifically about level 4, and then we'll talk about level 5 and level 6 afterwards. So if we take a look at the wiki, just looking at the domain in general, you can kind of tell by the disorders, and you can kind of see that it recommends it over here, that Electro is going to be a big deal for this specific domain. If you don't have Lisa powered up or any other Electro characters powered up, this is going to be slightly difficult, but there are a couple of ways that you can work around this, and everyone's account is going to have slightly different characters and stuff like that, so kind of tailor what you can to your needs and you should be fine. So specifically for level 4, the Leyline disorder is only affecting electrocharged. So we don't have anything crazy going on right now. It's just that electrocharge damage increases by 150% and its AoE is increased by 100%. So this is actually super beneficial to any electro character that you have. This is why the electro type is going to be just super important here. Now at level 4, we are going to be defending a monolith, which you may have this for like a daily commission sometimes, where you just have that little podium looking thing in the center. All the enemies are trying to attack that. That's fine. Actually, that's pretty easy, because that means that the enemies typically will target that specifically, and they won't really target you as often. So this is actually kind of nice. We just have to defeat 20 enemies while this thing is still alive. We can't let this monolith die. So the enemies that you would expect are 5 regular hydro slimes, 6 large ones, 6 hilichurls, 2 of the hydro samaturals. These are going to be a big focus early on, and then we have 1 abyss mage there at the very end. So my general strategy for domains that have samaturals in them, I try to take those out generally pretty fast if I can, especially in this situation. If it's a hydro one, typically those hydro samaturals have a way to heal other enemies, so I don't want that to happen at all. So I am going to immediately try to get rid of those as soon as I see them. Abyss mages are usually the more difficult ones, since this specific level isn't time gated or anything. It's not like we have to focus this guy super early. It's not like we need to, clean up other enemies and stuff like that to maintain time or anything like that. You don't have to weave time aspects into this at all. You can literally let this guy do his own thing if you need to, or personally, I like to get rid of those quicker because I feel like they're a larger threat to me, but it all depends on how you play. One interesting thing about level 4 is that if you ended up needing to, because everything in this particular level is going to have hydro attached to it, you could end up getting a Hydro Potion, and this is going to increase your resistance by 25% to all hydro damage, so that would actually be really nice. And whatever your main DPS is, the special thing about level 4 is it's not like there's any drawbacks to using Melt or Vaporize or anything like that, so you can still use your Pyro characters or whatever you have, all that's fine. And you can craft an essential oil to go along with that, so if you need flaming essential oils, you get 25% bonus damage to Pyro. So that's actually really nice. Okay, so let's do a quick run. So for level 3, we're only going to be using completely free-to-play characters. I'm not going to try to use anything fancy. So all these characters are level 60 or below. Well, the Traveler and Kaya are technically ascended to A4, so they are above 60, but they're just flat 60 right now. They have been ascended though, but Lisa and Amber are, I mean, Lisa's not even level 50 and Amber's not even ascended, so let's try to go in and I'll show you kind of what this one looks like and a little bit of what I do to take this one out. All right, so as soon as we hit start here, there's going to be a bunch of slimes, and remember that the ley line talks about the electrocharged increasing its AoE, so you can see it's jumping between them, all kinds of good stuff like that. And basically, we just want to use that to our advantage. I don't know why that didn't hold. It was supposed to hold. All right, so now we can see we do have a Samaturl. I'm going to throw this ult down just because it will affect some guys over there. But I'm going to try and grab the Samaturl here. And we can use Amber just to kind of set off some reactions. There we go. That looks good. And now that everybody's grouped up, do as much damage as we can there. And we can just go back to using Lisa to do some damage. Kaya works wonders here. Being able to freeze things that are affected by Hydro is just fantastic. So let's actually go ahead and pop this. And we'll go ahead and just do some damage there. And we do have our ult with Amber, so see if we can take these guys away. Remember, any kind of elemental reactions that you can do are going to be super, super nice for this. Oh, we have another Samaturl. So let's go ahead and get this guy out of the way. Go and pop this kind of close so that it still affects everybody that is, oops, that is close to the monolith as well. All right, so for the Hydro Mage, this guy's pretty annoying. Nice. So I'm just going to go ahead and revive her really quick. Unfortunately, that did lose my ult with her. All right, let's just take this guy out. So what I was going to say about him earlier is my favorite thing to do is use any kind of electro character to help take down his shield, because it is quite annoying. You can just use this, and we can try to make him stagger as much as you can with whatever you have, whether it's an animo character or anything that will stagger him so that he can't do this move right here, because that move will mess you up. Nice. And once you finally clean up, you should be good. Now, like I said, there's no time limit or anything, so it's not like you really have to worry about like quickly killing a bunch of enemies. You just kind of go through it and go at your own pace. Make sure that you don't take too much damage from people, and you should be fine. Now, there are going to be a couple of differences between level 5 and what we've previously looked at. So at level 5, you can see that we have two constants here, and these are negative ley line disorders for us. So when Melt is triggered, you will be hit by a powerful blast, causing your character to take damage. And when Vaporize is triggered, you will be hit by a powerful blast, causing your character to take damage. Funny enough, this is actually going to carry on into level 6 as well. Both Melt and Vaporize hurt us. On level 5, when Overload is triggered, an energy blast will occur, dealing damage to surrounding enemies. So Overload is important, which means that Electro plus Pyro is going to be good in this domain. So that actually opens up the doors a little bit, because that means that you can end up bringing other characters if you have them. Since everything in this section is going to pertain to Pyro, we can actually see here we have a Pyro Abyss Mage in the first wave, and then we have two Ruin Guards. Pyro itself is fine to bring, but don't bring Hydro and don't bring Cryo unless you aren't trigger happy and can prevent yourself from using elemental skills and elemental bursts that will end up hurting you. Like Child, big no-no. Guyun, big no-no. Barbara, big no-no. Just try not to bring those. Now, one thing that is important to note here, Abyss mages do end up having elemental weaknesses, right? Unfortunately, the elemental weakness, the one that works best on Pyro is up against Hydra. Unfortunately, the Leyline disorder messes that up. Electro, though, does also work here, so it ends up working out pretty well. Another thing to note is on Ruin Guards, they are specifically tailored to take less physical damage. They don't have a huge elemental resistance. They take 90% of the damage that you're dealing if it's elemental, whereas they only take 30% of the damage that you're dealing if it is physical. So here again, Lisa makes a ton of sense if you have her built up. Otherwise, you're either going to have to deal with a physical resistance or you're going to have to deal with using a catalyst user. This one can be tricky. Now, one thing that you could end up considering here is if you end up needing to, you could actually craft a heat shield potion. This can be done at any crafting station. You can basically just craft this and it increases all party members' pyro resistance by 25%. This isn't like optimal, but Pyro Mage can kind of mess you up if you aren't good at dodging their attacks. But the Ruin Guard doesn't really do any kind of pyro damage whatsoever, so it really only works for the first half, but it is an option if you need it. Another thing to consider is you could end up going with any kind of essential oils that will help increase your team's damage. One of the best things that I like to use in this stage is an Animo character. Specifically, if you crafted Gushing Essential Oil, increasing Animo damage by 25% it could end up stacking up. Long story short, I was having a lot of issues. The following couple of clips that you're gonna see is me hating Amber. All right, so there's 2 Ruin Guards. This is super annoying. I honestly pray that you know how to dodge. The reason that I brought Amber is because she is at least going to be a guaranteed... Oh no, that's not good. She's going to be a guaranteed archer that you have. All right, the trick to dodging, for me at least, is to dodge towards the missiles. I know that sounds crazy, but if you can dodge towards... Amber, you suck! I hate Amber! I hate Amber so bad. Her charge shot takes so long. Yeah, that's you deserve that. All right, so now that we have these guys up, usually you're going to be far away from at least one of them and the missiles are going to fire. To get rid of these guys, use Amber so that you can take... Amber sucks, dude. I hate Amber. Use Amber to try and reduce them down to at least immobilized. And after that, you should be able to try and induce some decent damage. For dodging the missiles, I dodge towards them because they're not going to be able to turn around before anything changes. They're not going to be able to turn their direction that fast, so you should be good. That's one. That's... Please. I feel like with Amber, you have to aim like way higher than you normally would. All right, that's one. See, that's so terrible. Oh boy. Yeah, I'm gonna eat. No! Bruh! Okay, let's get back to the good stuff. All right, I'm not even gonna lie. I had to take a break. I was getting a little frustrated. I wasn't hitting my shots. I took a nap. I'm back. So I'm gonna play back some footage that I recorded once I woke up. I didn't have my makeup on. I didn't do much beauty sleep, so I just didn't have a webcam on, and I didn't really narrate anything. It was just me playing. All right, so everything is the exact same team that we just saw. Fischl as the main DPS and Ning as kind of like my burst carry. One of the things that I think I'm gonna start doing for these particular videos is assuming for the AR level at this particular domain's level 5, I would assume that you have at least one character, your main DPS, maxed out at level 80. Not top level weapon necessarily, but at least their character level should be 80. At level 6, at AR 45, you don't get another ascension necessarily. You can't go to level 90 at AR-45. You have to wait till level 50 or AR-50. But I would assume by that, you have at least 2 characters. So I think that should be fair for most people. If you're following kind of like the general plan that everybody kind of suggests, you should be working on like characters and weapons first and primary, and then once you hit AR 40, 45-ish, you're looking for artifacts anyways. So with that being said, this was the successful run that we had. This domain is super annoying. You'll see a lot of stuff that I've already talked about. This is just the one successful run that I had once I woke up. Main goal here is literally use any archer that you have, even if it's amber, and make sure you hit your shots. See, once I woke up, I was hitting them like it was nothing, even from like the close-up. But for whatever reason, I was just having tons of trouble before I went to sleep. But anyways, the main deal here is if you can immobilize the ruin guards, do as much damage as possible. Your main DPS, of course, is going to be your carry. If your main DPS is not a physical attacker, you'll be in a much better position. Although if your main carry is a physical damager, like my Fischl is built for physical damage, it is going to take you a little bit longer than usual, but you still should be able to complete it well within the time limit. Pretty much the gist of it. You just have to really work around these 2 guys kind of doing their stupid shenanigans. One thing that I didn't mention that I will mention about dodging the missiles is if you know that they're setting up to hit you, switch to the tallest character that you have, because the height of the character actually does determine the movement that they're going to do when you dash. The taller the character, the farther they're going to dash, and that's going to allow you to move through the missiles faster and further so that you don't end up getting stuck hit by like the last 1 or 2 of them. That is actually a really insightful tip that I didn't mention earlier, but essentially you can see here, once I got one of them down far enough that I could see the kill coming, I just tried to make that happen as quick as possible. Auto targeting, yep, thank you for that. So once we get the first one down, it's literally just whittling the second one down, and at this point it's pretty much the same thing. Once you get one of them down, the second one is not nearly as bad. It's still kind of annoying, but it's not like you have to dodge missiles and try to immobilize one at the same time. You just kind of have to deal with one of them. Now, for the big one, level 6. Now, the leyline disorder for level 6, when superconduct is triggered, an energy blast will occur, dealing damage to surrounding enemies. So superconduct is the mixture of electro and cryo, which means that we can pretty safely bring in a cryo element if we have one that we typically like to use that is leveled up. Chongyun, Kaya, Diona, whatever you have. Hopefully, if you're watching this after Ganyu, you got Ganyu. But anyways, if you are, using those on your main team, like if that's what you typically use, level 6 is perfectly fine for those. If you don't really worry about it. Just don't bring Pyro into level 6, okay? It's going to be more hassle if you don't know how to work around it. The Abyss Mages are going to be abysmal for Pyro characters to try to kill. If they're your main carry, try to move into something else. Vaporize, we're not going to have too much of a problem with because there's not really anything that's going to do that. I honestly think that level 6 is slightly easier than level 5 once you get to it. The reason is because 1 Ruin Hunter is not nearly as annoying as 2 Ruin Guards. And I know a lot of people are going to be like, whoa, no, that's not right. But the Ruin Hunter can be easily manipulated, which we'll see in the footage that we have. So one thing to kind of remember, Ruin Hunters themselves, they do have a resistance to physical. It's not as bad as the Ruin Guards, where it's a full 70. It's only 50%, so you will do a little bit more damage if your main carry is a physical dealer. Otherwise, elemental damage is the way to go if you can do it. And you'll notice that we do have 2 Hilichurls, which are super annoying for some reason. The auto-targeting, for me at least, because I use Fischl and it auto-targets for the bow, I can never hit these Hilichurls unless they're way far away from the Ruin Hunter, which is just kind of annoying because they're just being a nuisance at that point. But usually if you're a sword character or a claymore user, you at least have enough weapon range that you're hitting these guys as well, but that's just a side note. So that's going to be everything that you're going to deal with in wave 1. You do have 7 minutes to complete both waves, which wave 2 does include 2 cryo abyss mages, which can be super annoying, but it's fine. They're not super bad. One of the things about this particular Now, because we are dealing with a lot of cryo damage on the second half of this, you could end up going with a Frost Shield potion just to get a little bit extra cryo resistance for your characters. That will actually help in the second half, not so much in the first half. And if you also are using a main DPS that uses a specific element, you can also kind of work around that by crafting an essential oil. If you're using, you know, electro, then you can go with something like that. That stuff will help a lot if you can end up getting them. Now, for level 6, the biggest deal is since the Ruin Hunter spawns in the first wave, essentially what I try to do is stay as far away as possible. Simply because if you can get him to, it almost feels like RNG. I know that there is a way to trigger it by just being far in general, but sometimes he just doesn't go into the whole missile stance. So the biggest thing that I try to do is stay as far away as I possibly can. Sometimes I do see him go into the missile stance when you're up close, but it rarely happens. So try to be as far away as you can, and hopefully he'll go into the missile stance. Right here, I'm actually just trying to get rid of these Helitrolls since they are far enough away that my official will start to auto-target them instead of the Ruin Hunter. And the Ruin Hunter is just doing tons and tons of charging attacks at me. Boom, both Helitrolls gone. Makes it a little bit less of a nuisance right now. So now that we're far enough away, you'll see he's going to go into his missile stance and just take the shot. You're going to have to aim directly for the eye, and then after that, it's pretty much just like fighting any other Ruin Guard. You're just going to literally beat him down. The only thing that I changed in this team setup is I put Kaya instead of Ning, simply because Kaya has a better weapon than Ning does for me personally. So he's still level 60. It's not like he's a level 80 character, which I would assume by AR45 you have 2 level 80 characters at least. But Kaya makes a lot of sense because he's a harder hitting character for me than my Ning was, so I ended up using him. Ning would have done just fine. Honestly, I probably didn't have to have her, but this was just to kind of also show that cryo is perfectly fine to bring here. There's nothing that's going to induct melt as long as you're bringing solely cryo, and using this ult is just perfect. That ult with Oz, with Lisa, is just working the damage. It's really hard to see because the timer's in the way, but it's working pretty fast. There was this really weird lull period where he just stood there for a minute. I couldn't really figure out why, but yeah, that was kind of weird. Also, I brought plenty of food just because this particular team, being that it's mainly free to play, I didn't have any healers or anything like that with me. There you can see, just by manipulating him, by running as far away as possible, you can get him to do the missile attack, and once he does the missile attack, you can shoot him and he falls down. After that, it's literally just 2 Abyss Mages. So you'll see muscle memory take over quite a few times. I just immediately switched to Kaya and used my elemental skill. That's just muscle memory from having my main team. Yep, you see I did it there, and I immediately was like, why? But essentially, we're just going to, if you can get them grouped up, it works pretty nice. Since we don't have anything that's got Hydro on it, you could bring a Hydro character here, which I don't think would cause you any kind of problems, and it would actually help quite a bit with freezing these guys and stuff like that. If you end up having any Hydro characters, Barbara probably would be decent. She would be really annoying. I think I probably wouldn't bring her if I had the option to bring any other Hydro character, but that's just me, simply because Barbara's going to get you frozen. For these 2 guys, I literally just try to work on whichever one I'm near whenever I defeat the Ruin Hunter. The closest one to me, I'm going to be able to start whittling that shield down, and as soon as you get the shield down on the first one, target him as much as possible. Make sure that you can kill him quicker than the other one kills you, and then it's just a one-on-one after that. And generally in 1v1s, I believe you can win. This stupid move right here, yeah, use an Animo to try to stagger him as much as possible. If you're using Traveler, don't hold it because it won't stagger and you could possibly get hit. Just hit it really quick and you should be good. And after that, you should be cleared. Now, just for the sake of trying, I want to see if I can do this a little faster with like a fully built out, fleshed out team that I would choose for my account. Of course, this isn't going to be, likely that many people are going to have this exact team, stuff like that. But just to kind of see how fast I can clear it, I kind of want to try this out. So thinking about the team comp that I have, Jean probably doesn't make a ton of sense. I kind of wanted to bring Kaya because he could do the permafreeze. We're just going to try this. Oh, perfect. gonna run away. Get that way.
No time to lose.
Oh yeah, and also makes a ton of sense to use use the tallest character that you can to dodge this guy's attacks too, because you'll run faster. That also applies to this. Go up. Yeah. Yep. Go up. Go up. Go up. Yeah. Okay.
Think you can get away?
Come on, shield. Okay. I'm only gonna run that once, but that was what, a 332. I don't know. That was decent. But you can kind of see there, you can manipulate the Ruin Hunter by literally just running as far away as possible, basically using your tallest character to dodge missiles and the Ruin Hunter in general. That kind of stuff is something that you may not like inherently think about whenever you're like in the middle of running this stuff, but if you get in the habit of doing that, it'll help you in the long run. Now, as far as teams that I like, it really does depend on your specific level that you're trying to farm out. Because on like level 6, you can use cryo characters and you don't want to bring pyro, but on level 5, you could use pyro, but you don't want to bring cryo, things like that. It really depends per level, whichever one you're doing. But essentially, Geo is amazing here, and I think that's going to be a pretty big theme across a ton of different of the artifact domains, but we'll kind of talk more about that later. Depending on which level you are, like I said, of course, at level 6, cryo characters do really, really well, because if you have one already built, like if your main DPS is Chong, and you like running Chong, then at level 6, he's going to be able to shine. At level 5, if your main DPS is Bennett or Diluc or just not Amber, then you're good. You can basically do whatever you need to do on that specific level, but they don't really mix well between 5 and 6 and stuff like that. Just know Hydra characters are a little wonky once you get to 5 and 6, but at level 4 they're going to be just fine if you need them. But Electro really is the star here. Any kind of Razor mains, Beto mains, Fischl mains, I mean anybody that mains those characters are going to be amazing. Lisa mains, yes, I guess I will include you too, but so yeah, guys, that's pretty much it. After this goes up, we are going to post another poll. This go around, I'll include a talent book place, because I didn't on the last one, so I kind of want to throw that in there. I'll try to do the same format of at least 1 weapon ascension, 1 talent book, and then 2 artifact domains, and then we'll just take it from there. But yeah, if you have any recommendations on something I didn't say in this video, let me know in the comments, because I would like to know, and I'm sure other people would highly like to know as well. Because remember, knowledge is power, and if we can spread the knowledge, then that makes everybody more powerful, for better or worse. But anyways, see you guys. Major shout out to Cherry Blue, who is a YouTube member.